And we are back.
We are back, bumblebees.
We are in the studio today, in the To Be Better studio today. We have to start calling it that.
To Be Better Studio.
Because we are allowing people to use our studio now. So To Be Better Studio with independent country music singer Kingery.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
This is exciting.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell everyone that's not familiar with you what it is that you do so that we can jump into.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kingery. I do music, country, a little bit of country rap, just kind of whatever vibe that I'm in. I'm leaning more, starting to do more country singing music more than the country rap, but yeah. So
as of today, you have a number 2 country hit.
I do. Yeah, so it's called Wranglers on the Floor. We just released it 2 nights ago at midnight, and it just kind of blew up.
The incredible power of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Before we sat down, so for those of you who aren't familiar with our studio, there's a dance studio next door. So we had a little bit of time to kill because they had a recital that went way longer than it was supposed to, so we had time to converse. And one of the things that we were talking about is how fortunate we are to be alive right now. Because 15 years ago, 20 years ago, this wouldn't exist.
No.
An independent artist hitting number 2 on a chart, any chart, without
Absolutely.
being co-signed by a label would never happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful to have social media and a platform for to really get things out there that you want to get out there, you know, whether it's any type of small business or music or, I mean, I've seen, you know, you got artwork and everything. I mean, anything that anybody does that entrepreneurship or anything, like social media has created a platform for, you know, to really get it out to the people.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
Do you are you working anything besides the music thing right now? Like, is that fully your?
So I'm fully in music. I do own a clothing line as well.
Okay.
So
what is that?
It's called Thin Line Apparel.
Okay.
So it's www.thinlineapparel.com. But it is a clothing line that, like, we help support military, first responders, you know, farmers, any type of, you know, medical field, anything like that. And we have a lot of shirts that are, you know, Pro 2A shirts and stuff like that.
So right up my alley. Is
yeah,
what you're
right up
saying.
your alley.
Okay.
But what's cool about it is we pick a new organization each month, and we donate a portion of our proceeds to that organization. Like, we've helped military organizations, we've helped a farm out one time. You know, we've donated to fallen officers funds, and this month, in the month of February, our proceed donation is going to a young man. I believe he's 9 years old with cancer.
Okay.
So he's got leukemia, and he's fighting, winning that battle, kicking cancer's ass. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna give our proceed donation to his family.
Now, with that clothing line, is that a drop ship thing where you guys design the shirts and somebody else handles the shipping, or do you it all in house?
It used to be drop shipping, and now we do. I have a business partner I own the company with 50-50, and we do everything out of his garage now.
That's where I want to go with our clothing line. I do consulting work for a company named called Buffalo Graphics. That's actually, they do all of our printing. They anything that I need for the tattoo shop, stickers, T-shirts, they do all of that.
That's awesome.
And the owner's son, his name is Jordan. He's a friend of mine, and he's buying into that with his mom, and is buying his mom out so that he can own the business outright. But he's already got everything established. So for me to create a business like that, I'm looking at like $150,000 to buy everything that he has. Or maybe I can buy into something that's already established and do everything there myself. I have the graphic design skills.
Yeah.
I was a tattoo artist for 20-something years. You know, like that's easy for me. And I have the screen printing knowledge because I used to have a Riley Hopkins 4-color press.
Okay.
And I had my whole garage set up.
Yeah.
But in Florida, when you've got a conveyor and a flash dryer and the heat, it's like 180 degrees in your garage and it's miserable, and I don't want to do that. So I sold all that shit, and now I just pay somebody to do all my shirts. But
yeah, I got lucky. My business partner was kind of already in that field of making stuff like that, so he actually had like a little small storefront. So he actually closed the storefront, and we just used the equipment that he used in there.
Yeah.
So
it's smart, and it's in the garage, and it's not 100 degrees every day up there.
it is not.
So
It's one nice thing about being in the Midwest.
yeah, kind of jealous about that. Maybe a little bit more than kinda. I
lot.
I hate
lot.
the heat so much. We bought this giant bar cart because she's making cooking videos, and it's like a Duramax Home Depot. It's a heavy duty cart. It's a workbench on wheels. and I'm in the house. It's 60 degrees outside, 70 degrees in my house, and I'm building this thing, and I'm sweating my ass off. And I'm like, why am I sweating inside? This is so fucking stupid. And then after I was done, I looked and realized it was 10 degrees cooler outside, and I was like, I really should have just done this outside today.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier, it's like I'm the opposite, like being in the Midwest. Like I just want to get down here where it's warm all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we get excited when we have sweater weather. The ability to wear a hoodie. Or
Have the house open.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or to ride a motorcycle and not die of a heat stroke at a red light is super exciting, especially if you're in gear. It's just too hot for that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 50 at night, 75 during the day would be
Perfect.
perfect
Yep,
for me.
all the time. All the time. I would even go as low as like 30 at night and 75 in the day. I could deal with that 40-degree swing. I'd be all right with that.
That made my knees hurt. Thinking about 30-degree
The
weather.
30s.
That's funny. You didn't complain about your knees hurting when we were in Tennessee.
Yes, I was.
I don't remember.
Damn.
So what did you do before you did the music thing?
I was a police officer for 10 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, so in this, around the city of Indianapolis.
Was that something you always wanted to do?
So when I was real young, I wanted to, you'd be hard to catch me without a guitar in my living room, just messing around with music, and grew up on Alan Jackson and Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings and
So good country.
Good country.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I wanted to do music when I was real young, and then I became like when I got into like high school, college age, I studied sociology because that was the criminal justice that was at the college that I went to, and I played baseball there too, which is really the only reason I went to college was play baseball, and then I threw my arm out and I was like I'm done with this. But so sociology, I just figured like I'm gonna pick something other than math, so because I'm terrible at math. But my uncle was a vice investigations detective, so I would go out to ride with him, and he worked in the the undercover drugs and prostitution and stuff like that, and I would go on ride-alongs with him being 18 years old, and I was like, man, you get paid to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, so that's kind of like where I took that career path.
I have a friend of mine who did the sheriff's thing for a while and then got into narcotics and then got into, well, he got a federal job. I can't say what he got into, but he got a very big promotion into a different organization, and that's his job now is serving warrants, kicking in doors, buying shit like that. Like it's, every time I talk to him, he's got new crazy wild stories. I'm like, bro, it's just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I was like, you're that guy on TV. You know what I mean?
You're literally dog.
Yeah, it's so I was on the SWAT team with the police department that I was at for 5 years of it. So that was the most fun for me.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So I know that sounds like it's going to sound stupid, but that's one of those really crazy adrenaline-filled jobs to go from that to music. It's not the same.
It's definitely not, but one of the, I still get the adrenaline rush. Like, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life that I've realized is going on stage, like being a new artist, going on stage, like opening for like a big name act or something, and the place is filled and nobody knows your music. Like, that is one of the most difficult things, is to get on stage and sing to people and nobody knows a song.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. She wants to do seminars really bad.
yeah.
She brings it up
Yeah.
at least once a month, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. This is easy because you're not here, right? So I'm talking to 3 lenses and 2 people.
That's crazy to me.
The idea of having 15 people in a room just staring at me talking, I can't do that.
Yep.
So 50, 100, 1,000, 50,000, nah, I don't think I could do that.
I need the energy.
I think I would shut down.
I'm a vampire in that sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you like it and you don't.
I don't think I could. Thinking of that gives me stage fright.
Oh, well, see, I've been on stage.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me.
We have a platform which is technically a digital stage, but there's nobody here.
Right. Having the people in front of you definitely is. I get that now.
Who's the biggest person you've opened for?
Whew. Well, this year will be my biggest. But I've opened for Colt Ford.
Okay.
I've opened for Jesse Howard and New Breed.
Okay.
Just in Time. And then this year I've got a show in North Carolina with Upchurch.
Nice.
So
How did that come about?
So it's going to be in Black Mountain, North Carolina at Silverados. I've played at that event before, good friends with the owner and everything, and he put on this big event for like, it's a country rap festival basically, and I think there's got to be somewhere around 25, 30 artists that are on this event. It's a 3-day event, and they just reached out.
I didn't know who Upchurch was until I heard him do the Simple Man cover. No, maybe not. He did a cover song. He did a bunch of cover songs, but I listened to a lot of acoustics and I like covers.
Yeah.
And I like acoustics a lot. You get a single person with a guitar that can actually sing, and I'll listen to that over band music any day of the week.
Yes.
And he popped up and he was covering songs, and he covered Alice in Chains, and he covered quite a few people, and I was like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? He has a ton of followers, and then I saw his music, and like he actually raps and shit. And I was like, okay, I guess there's some sort of Upchurch Tom McDonald beef happening right now.
I saw that. Yeah, stay out of that. But, yeah, it's definitely booming right now.
Do you think that a lot of that beef is real beef, or do you think it's an album ploy? Like if somebody came to you behind the scenes and was like, "Yo, let's hate each other for some money," would you do it?
I think that it happens.
Yeah,
definitely, it definitely happens. Like I think that on the internet, drama sells these days.
Yeah.
So if you got I think it's happened many a times. You see somebody, do something outlandish right before they drop a song or an album or something. But I think that one thing that I do like about Upchurch is he's just real.
Yeah.
So I think that his beef or whatever he has with Tom it's probably real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, you never know. 6 months, you might have them two doing a song together,
maybe,
or something.
Speaking of people doing songs together,
What? Oh.
Oh, I'm down.
we were. Did you see the video I tagged you in today?
I did. Yes.
We were talking about the Tom McDonald Ben Shapiro thing. And we need to get somebody to ghostwrite a song for her so that she can jump on somebody's album just so she can say she's a rapper.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the following. It'll sell something.
Hey, I'm in.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right, dope. I've been practicing rapping to Eminem
and Tech Nine.
So
you got Lose Yourself Down?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do actually. That's one of my go-to karaoke practices, just in case someone hits me up and like, hey, we're doing karaoke Friday.
Yeah.
I'm already ready.
She actually does have a karaoke list that she practices in the car.
Really?
Just in case somebody wants to karaoke.
Do you like to karaoke?
I do.
It is one of my favorite things to do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Anthony said that he wants to go do karaoke too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
I mean, he's here.
I think we're hanging out tonight. So
What?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to go out tonight.
Aunt.
I'm staying with Aunt. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to text Anthony after this. Not to impose or anything, but you want to do karaoke.
Always welcome.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are going to go out, we probably make it down there. We have to do another episode before we do that.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We definitely can make it down there tonight. We don't have anything going on until tomorrow evening.
Yep.
Which is nice because this entire week has been literally scheduled one thing after another all week. Haven't had any downtime, which is why those hoodies are just now getting shipped out.
Yeah.
So
it's a good problem to have.
It is. So how is this? I'm really hung up on the platform aspect of all of this, right? Because you can take somebody that's got a big platform and they can get into the news, politics, coffee, t-shirts, makeup, whatever it is that they want to do. Once you have a following or a community, because we built a community, not a following.
Yeah.
But once you have that following or that community around what you're doing, the support is there already.
Yep.
So moving into different aspects of what it is that you're trying to do is a whole lot easier than starting in your room with, some SoundCloud rappers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So what how hard was that for you? Because you had some time on a TV show. You already had a little bit.
Yeah.
How did that look?
So I was on the show Live PD, and it's a version of Cops, and I didn't really have much social media. I think I had like a private Facebook at that point in time, but when you were on the show, they wanted you to have a Twitter account. And so just connect with fans. That's basically Live PD's main source of social media is Twitter. And so I got a Twitter account, interacted with the fans. I blew up on Live PD and Twitter because I love to dance. So that's one thing that I would always do when I was a cop was really get out with my community, get out with kids, dance with kids, play basketball with kids. And we had a traffic stop on the show one time, and I get out with the kids, and instead of writing somebody a ticket, there's 2 kids in the back seat who just left dance class, and I was like, I bet I can't beat you in a dance battle. They get out the car, we dance battle and everything, and it goes pretty crazy on social media. And then there about that time, the Get Up Challenge, like, I don't know if you know that song, it was Blanco Brown's song called the Get Up. It's like going and do the 2-step.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah. And so, like, I hadn't seen a cop do that dance on the internet yet. So I'm getting ready to go into shift. I throw my uniform on for shift, set my phone up, do the Get Up Challenge dance. And I'm talking like 200 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
And Facebook combined. And it just went like crazy. Ended up on the news for it and everything. And then that's when my TikTok, I started my TikTok, and that kind of took off. And so the platform, I'm like built the platform first, and then was just lucky enough to introduce something that I really wanted to do to people who where I was already connected with, I think that's, I think it's I think it's once you have that platform, it's definitely difficult to just be a new artist or something like that and start a TikTok account, and then your first video is you singing.
Right.
And then trying to get people to really buy into it. Because unfortunately, like, I think a lot with social media too, is a lot of people don't want to support something until it's popular.
Right.
And then once it's popular, then they want to get on board. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you see that with anybody that's like, yo, check out this new music. People are like, yeah, okay. And then they never check it out, right? Because they want to like find it on their own.
Right.
I see you taking notes.
I did. Before I forget, because I'm not going to make a note of this.
Yeah.
Do you know who Joji is?
No.
So, like, back in the day, he was the dude in the all pink outfit doing stupid shit on the internet. Well, he was a really well-known meme lord. Like, that was his shit. And then one day he was like, hey, guys, check out this song. And he dropped it, and everyone's like, oh, this song's so great. Like, who is it? And he was like, it's me, bitches. And, like, that's how he got his music career going. So,
That's pretty...
yeah.
Well, that's what you said. You built a platform
Right.
first, and then you transitioned it in.
So the first note I made was that live PD, was any of that shit staged?
No. Everything, so I don't know about Cops. See, the difference between live PD and Cops is, like, Cops was always so interesting because it was never live, So what they were able to do was take the most exciting events from their shifts and everything like that, compile it in, and then put it out to the public.
Right.
Live PD became so popular because you're in real time. The only difference between it being live actually and a little bit of a delay is there's about a 15-minute delay in case something like crazy happens.
Right.
Like somebody gets shot, they're not going to put that on, on there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And this is just a fucked up thought I had. Could you imagine, like, you pull somebody over, you're getting ready to write them a ticket, and then you look at the kid and go, now it's up to you, children. Either your parent's going to get this $800 ticket, or you're going to beat me at a dance battle.
No pressure, kids.
Right?
No pressure at all.
There goes that new dirt bike you wanted, Jeffrey. Hope you can dance.
You want a Christmas this year?
This is it, Candace. You said you wanted that pony.
That would actually make for a really good video.
I know.
That's wild. I had so many things, and I saw you taking notes, and I'm trying to, like...
Oh, none of it was serious.
Steamroll things.
Yeah, none of it was serious.
So okay. So you blew up from simple dance videos, right? So I'm assuming that your TikTok got popular right during COVID.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of creators that got super popular during COVID and then fell off.
Yep.
Because that COVID TikTok time frame was a very strange time because everybody was at home doing nothing, completely bored.
Yeah.
So everybody was doing all the challenges and doing that, and that's how those things got, popular or whatever. Do you miss the law enforcement thing at all?
Not the job in itself, Unfortunately, the climate really changed around it, and I got burnt out. I loved to do that job for about the first 7 or 8 years that I did it. And the last 2, like, the difference was, like, I would be excited to put my uniform on. I'd try to get there early. If it was 6 o'clock in the morning when I got off, I'd try to still be working at 5:45, so I had to stay over and stuff like that. I was really in love with the job. It was fun. And the last couple years of it, like I just got burnt out, and it was just like I'd be like, oh, if I had to, like it was just like one of those things, because unfortunately with the climate and everything that we're in nowadays, you're more concerned with doing your job and getting reamed by the media or your internal administration wise than you are out there getting shot or something like that.
Right.
And it just didn't become something that I had a passion for anymore. And I don't think that that's a job that you can really stay in if your head's not 100% on it.
Right.
You could become complacent and, stuff like that. But I do miss the, working night shift with the guys and the girls and just having that like brotherhood. And I definitely miss the car chases and stuff like that and kicking indoors and stuff like that. That's fun. Yeah.
I'm going to transition to a different topic. Do you have anything else on law enforcement?
No.
When in your Wranglers on the Floor video or song, you mentioned blue collar quite a bit in the chorus or the hook of the song. Do you consider law enforcement to be blue collar workers?
I do.
Okay. Do you think that there is a resurgence of pride in having those jobs?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Why is that?
I think that it's, nowadays, like, we're all struggling out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're the elites that everybody's, like, sick and tired of, these days, we're all out here struggling. Whether you're a construction worker or, a nurse, getting your hands dirty on the job, being a cop, being a firefighter, those are, I think it's respectable professions that don't get quite the acknowledgement and pay and everything that they should.
Yeah. And they're such high demand jobs.
They really are.
I was born in 1980, right? So I am the Zennial. Man, Aunt had a big hoopla about that, because from 77 to 83, if you were born in that time frame, you are a very small gap of a generation. And you're leaning more towards Gen X than the millennial, but like you still had technology and all. That's a very different conversation. Anyways, for all of the 80s and into the 90s, as computers were coming into the thing, I remember my parents always saying, you don't want to be outside working. You want to get a computer job, or you want to get an office job, because that's where the money is. You got to go to college and get a degree. And now I am the exact opposite. Like, I don't want my kids going to college at all. Like, you want to go to a trade school or a VOTEC, let's run that shit.
Yeah.
But you going and getting a 4-year or 6-year degree and having $200,000 in debt when you can become a big diesel mechanic in 2 years,
right,
and pay for college outright for $20,000, like, that makes a lot more sense to me. I know big diesel mechanics that are pulling 6 figures.
Absolutely.
So like that, I think that's where that transition is, because people are realizing that, yes, you can try to become a YouTuber, or you can try to become a TikTok celebrity or Twitch streamer, but the chances of you becoming that is less than 1%.
Yeah, I mean, it's like making it to the NBA.
Right. And the people who make money on that, like truly make money on that, is 1% of 1%.
Correct.
Right. So like you can do it for the passion and the love of it, or because you want the fame, but the money may not come. So, but you can get a job plumbing and become a master plumber in a few years and make, $150,000 a year easily, and then open your own business and apprentice people and really thrive in that aspect. I think that the blue collar pride is definitely there for people who get dirty and work for a living. But I think that the younger generation who sees that and sees the pride that those men have in those jobs, it's pushing people towards that.
Yeah.
And I think it's super crazy to see that, because my generation was told you need to do computer work. You need to be in an office. That's the future. That's where the money is.
Right.
And everybody I know that got a degree in computer or anything is broke as fuck besides one. And he works as an airport at the airport as the big dick tech guy. Like he runs the entire security for the airport. So he lives very comfortably.
Right.
But he's got more degrees than anyone I know, and constant learning, and it just doesn't seem reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, the demand for these jobs are going to be, it's going to be crazy. Like, I remember when I first started in law enforcement, in my first hiring process that I went through, like I was competing with 900 people for this job, and they're hiring 2 or 3.
Oh wow.
And then like the last year or two that I was on the police department, we'd have hiring processes and 13 people would show up.
That's it?
Yeah.
And how many jobs were looking to be filled?
And there were some times where we were looking to fill 8 positions.
Yeah.
So like I think the more pride that comes with this and blue collar work and everything, like you said, people are going to start, like really taking pride in that. And I think it'll come back around.
Yeah. I think it is coming back around.
Yeah. I mean, once this younger generation realizes that they're not all going to be YouTubers, they're going to have to figure out something else to do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of money in trade work. A lot. And the beauty of trade work, I'm a big trade work guy. Like I think everybody should have a trade. Mm-hmm. You can go anywhere in the world. Literally I'm a tattoo artist, so obviously I can go anywhere in the world and tattoo, but if I was a carpenter and I didn't want to live in Florida anymore, I could move to Milwaukee and have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
There are people out there who need those jobs fulfilled, and there are people out there who are like, hey, I'll pay double what I should be paying, but nobody has the skill to actually do the job, so they're sitting there still having to work their own business instead of working on their business. Shit's crazy to me.
Yeah, and just think how much money you could save if you could change your own oil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of spending the $90 for somebody to take 5 minutes and do it.
$90. I wish.
I was about to say, isn't it more than that?
Yeah. Well, I have a Mercedes.
Right.
Oh. Yeah. That's what about $350?
So with the Mercedes that I have, it's $1,000
for an oil change
for the service. So at 10,000 miles, it needs its first service. They have service A and B, and the first 10,000 miles is service A, and then I think it's 6 or 10,000 after that service B, and then it goes back to A. But the first service is 1,000. B I think is 1,200, and then it goes back to 1,000. So I paid for the first 4 up front with the financing of the vehicle, so I didn't have to worry about that shit.
There you go.
But it's a Mercedes. Like I doubt I'll even keep it for 40,000 miles, but
right.
I just in case I do, I would rather have that shit prepaid, and if I don't use it, they'll give me the money back like Gap insurance. So, yeah. But if it was an American car and it was not $140,000 car, I could just go out there and do that shit myself. Especially if it was an old like a block, box Chevy.
Right.
Anybody can work on that. You can get in the engine, like you can sit inside the hood of the car and work on shit.
Yeah, you actually don't have to take the whole car apart for an oil change.
So with the music thing, are you writing all your own music?
I am. Yeah, I do. So I do get in every so often. I got some friends in Nashville and stuff like that are pretty good writers out of Nashville. And that's only been like 1 or 2 songs that we get into a room together and sit down and just get in the moment and start writing.
Have you ever worked with any ghostwriters or bought lyrics from people?
I have not. I had a song, like I said, the only song that I really haven't wrote myself is a song I wrote called Magic. And my buddy Chief he's a big time Nashville writer. He helped write a lot of that song. But other than that, it's been pretty much me.
How many people do you think make it onto the music scene solely doing their own thing without ghostwriters? Do you think it's a really relevant thing?
I think that a lot of people probably have a team or somebody, or they're buying it's tough. I mean, it's tough to sit down there and
I know,
compile a song to write. I mean, you look at the biggest names in music. Morgan Wallen's got Hardy and why am I drawing a blank now? Ernest.
Okay.
And his crew of people that sit down and write, and you'll see a lot of these big name country artists that put out these top songs. If you go to the album and actually check it out, it's written by somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you see that. I do see that with a lot of big name artists. There's it's a lot more common than people think it is.
Yeah.
But people don't, we don't buy albums anymore. We get MP3 downloads.
Yep.
So for you to even see that album cover, you know what I mean? The credits aren't there.
Yep.
There's nothing for you to look at anymore. But I was a CD kid, grew up in the 80s. I had cassettes and all that shit. So I remember unfolding that Beastie Boys album, Licensed to Ill, But there was always other people writing music for people, and I always thought that was crazy because the delivery matters. And when you have somebody who's just writing music and there's a passion behind it and you can hear pain in their voice, and you find out that somebody else wrote the song, it's you lying fuck.
Yeah. And that's it says something about some people that can literally just sit down and write their own stuff and do it themselves. And that's what I try to do, is just write my experiences and how I feel. But I do miss the days of getting a CD.
Yeah.
Ghetto D, my masterpiece.
Oh no! Oh no! The bright orange case.
Yes, that was my jam back in the
That's
day.
so funny. I had all that shit. I think I probably had almost everything No Limit put out.
Yeah, that was a fire album.
Yeah, dude. I'm almost everything they put out back then. I like Southern hip hop.
Yes.
So like, Swisher House was my shit.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and anything that I stopped listening to like. I really stopped listening to music, like hard listening to music, when Paul Wall was still real big.
Okay.
So now I still listen to music, but I listen to like really old shit. I listen to Hank Williams Jr. and like I listen to old country. And for like newer music, the only thing that I'm really listening to, like I listen to Jelly Roll, but I've been a fan of Jelly Roll since he was making music with Haystack like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's nothing new to me, and like we grew together.
Right.
Because I was in my 20s when that happened.
Yeah.
So now I'm, 40-something years old, and he's 40-something years old. And as he's grown up, his music's grown up, and I've been able to ride with him the entire time because it's happening like, together, which was kind of cool. But I don't, I think that because I was a hip hop guy and I'm used to the art of storytelling, right? Wasn't that Slick Rick's album's name, is Art of Storytelling?
Yep.
So knowing that hip hop used to be a story from beginning to end, and you had people like Nas, who was a true lyricist, and Tupac, who were both making songs about firearms that if you didn't really understand, you would never know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there was so much storytelling involved, and then music just shifted. It was like overnight that it went from storytelling to mumble nonsense, and I was like, well, I'm done with this.
Yeah, mumble nonsense, selling drugs, and that's the thing is like, now it's a lot of, like, you talk about not writing your own lyrics or not really living your own lyrics, like talking about shooting people and they ain't ever held a gun, like getting just I think a lot of people can see through that, and I think a lot of people want real these days.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter like who you are, they just want you to be real. Stand by what you believe in or be genuine yourself,
Yeah. I think people are definitely craving authenticity. We actually talked about that before we sat down in here. And that's because everybody's a gimmick now.
Yes.
Right? Even the people who are like Taylor Swift, I don't think she's anything more than a corporate puppet.
No, I don't either.
Right. So, we I don't want to get into that.
You're going to make some Swifties mad.
Well, I don't care if I make Swifties mad. I was going to it was going to start transitioning into a political conversation, and I just don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to get into that. There's enough politics on the internet right now that I don't want to add to that. So,
hey, she's in the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Well, because somebody was like, hey, you need to get close to this guy. And she's like, okay, I have nothing else to do with my life, so I'm going to go do that. That's how I viewed that situation.
The way that I view and I hope I'm wrong here because it would literally take away childhood and everything of the NFL because I'm a big NFL fan. But I don't want to believe it's scripted.
I do. I think it is.
But I think it is. You got to think it wasn't the AFC Championship game, but it was the game before that. They said it was the most viewed game ever, including the Super Bowls and everything as well, because it was the Chiefs and Taylor Swift and everything. And it's well, I'm the NFL. If the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, how many more people are going to be watching if Taylor Swift's there?
Right. Or
they don't even watch football.
And if it's the Chiefs versus the Lions, then Eminem will be there. Then what? You know what I mean? Yeah, right. I think about that shit too. I'm not a big sports guy. I don't like team sports. I don't like the idea of knowing that I can play the best game of my fucking life and somebody else could be having a bad day and ruin my chances of winning. I'm too competitive for that. We'd have problems in the locker room. I know that you're getting a divorce right now, bro, but you just fucking cost us the game. Leave that shit at home. It's time to go to war. Yeah. I do think that there's when you have some the referees are out there gambling on these games. They are.
Oh, I bet there's so much stuff behind the scenes. Yeah. And if it is scripted, I guarantee you not everybody has to be involved in it.
Right.
It only takes a couple people.
Yeah.
A little hush money and an NDA.
Yep.
And I don't want to think about that though, because I don't want my NFL experiences to be ruined when I cheer on my Bengals. Our Cincinnati Bengals is if it is scripted, can you give us a year?
Right. Yeah. Bowl? Have you had one in a while? It's been a while.
Yeah. We haven't had a single one. We've been in it, but
It's stupid. So you just gave a hypothetical of like, I understand you're going through a divorce right now, but like leave that shit at home. What would you do if that man looked you in the eyes and said, I can't, she got that too?
I just said you should have got a prenuptial agreement.
Oh man, okay.
Fucking dumbass. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You got lawyers all around you if you're in the NFL. You have a team of lawyers if you're in the NFL. You're going to sign $1 million or multi-million-dollar contract and not have a lawyer?
I mean, some people do. Yeah.
Look for the bold print. Steve said that that's really important, and the italic bold print is the really important shit. We actually are going to have we have a family lawyer who's a friend of ours that is going to probably come on the podcast and do some like pro bono advice.
Okay.
So we're excited about that. That's why that joke came out, but for me anyways.
Yeah.
That's pretty savage though.
Yeah, I know. That's the reality. You hit that man with, I know you're getting divorced. You just fucking lost the game for us. Leave that shit at home. I can't. I'm living out of my car.
Oh, it's not funny, but it's funny.
All jokes are rooted in truth.
I know. So how are you enjoying being down here?
I love it.
It's not too hot for you?
No. Like, I got in last night, and Aunt and everybody, and they're all saying it's cold and stuff. Like, we walked around, went to a couple spots last night, and like they're all in their long sleeves and everything, and you know, I'm sitting here like, this feels like 80 degrees to me, and it's only like 54.
Yeah.
You know, being from Indiana, but I love it down here. I think everybody else does too. Your housing market's probably crazy down here.
Yeah.
Everybody's still moving down here.
Yeah. Our housing, it's so we're starting to stall out a little bit. I sold a house 4 years ago. It went on the market and sold the same day. And I have friends that lived in that neighborhood who has now moved to Chicago. Actually, ironically enough, it was the guy that works for the airport. But he moved to Chicago, and his house has been on the market for 3 or 4 months now, and it hasn't sold yet. And it's just as nice as the one that sold the same day that I moved.
Really?
So I think that it's slowing down. We have a couple friends who are trying to sell their houses right now, and it's just not. I think it's just inflated. I think it's harder to get a loan. I think that younger people are realizing that as long as inflation continues to go up, the interest rates on homes are going to go up. Nobody wants to pay 10% on a fucking $300,000 home.
Outrageous.
It is. I did it. I had to do a cash loan through bank statements because of my businesses. It was easier that way than trying to do a traditional loan. And at the time, I got a 4.5% interest rate, which was high. You know, at the time, my buddies were getting like, oh, I just got this 1% and 0.75%. I'm like, eat a dick, bro.
Right.
And now there's like, oh, I just got a 9% loan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How? Like,
Insane.
what the fuck? Yeah. So
I think ours was like 3.8 when I bought my like last house, you know, and then now like I'm just renting, like, cause I'm like,
yeah,
I am trying to pay 9% interest rate. It's insane.
You wouldn't be able to do that here. I mean, you might be able to. I don't know your finances, but we Inglewood. So where we're at right now, Eaglewood is like a mile that way and 2 miles that way, and a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house out there is going for about $4,500 a month right now
In rent.
I know.
Not in Indiana.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we found some places in Tennessee where we were looking where we could get a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, or 322 for like $1,200, and I'm like, okay, that's reasonable.
Reasonable, yeah, absolutely.
And they want you to have 3 to 4 times the income monthly as the rent.
Right.
At $4,000 a month, if I was making $18,000 a month, I wouldn't need to rent your fucking house, bro. Like,
right. You wouldn't need it.
Yeah, it's so stupid. So what's on the horizon for you? Obviously right now you're kind of riding the high of being number 2 on the charts, but like, do you have a full album coming out? I know the TikTokers are just dropping singles left and right.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll definitely be dropping an album. It'll be my first album here probably within the next couple months. So this is artist downtime for traveling and tours and stuff pretty much. You still see a couple people do a show every now and then. But usually, like, you know, December, January, February is like
slow season.
Yeah, it's your writing season. You know, that's if you want to work on an album season, you know, stuff like that. And so I got about 4 more songs to get done before my first album's out.
Is that like common knowledge in the music industry?
Pretty much. I mean, people are writing all year.
It is reassuring for me, dude. Our fucking numbers tanked last month.
Really?
And I reached out to everyone I know that's had any involvement in a podcast, and they're all like, January sucks.
Yeah.
And like, I have friends who are followers of podcasts, and one of them was like, every year in January, people are like, I'm going to quit the podcast. I'm not doing this anymore. And then a couple months later, they come back.
Yeah.
Because January just sucks.
Yep.
I wonder why that is. Because in the tattoo industry here in Florida, January is busy.
Is it?
Yeah, because everybody's got their Christmas money.
Yep.
Families here visiting. Tourists are coming down for New Year's.
Yep.
And then tax season starts.
Yep.
You know, and depending on what taxes look like, it runs until August, September, and then we slow down until after Christmas again.
Okay.
But that's crazy that it's like that in the music industry. So that's why a lot of these guys are hitting podcasts and doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah, like I said, some people still travel and do some shows around this time of year, but you'll see things start to pick up March a little bit, and they get pretty heavy in April and on throughout November.
How do you feel about artists that do like collaborations just to get known? Do you think that's a beneficial thing for an independent artist to try to get on other people's shit?
Absolutely.
Do you think there's a community for that?
For sure. And I think that, like, especially with the way that, having the social media and everything, is you'll see a lot of people do collaborations because, you may be able to pull 1 million streams on a song by yourself, but what if 2 of you are going at it?
Right.
And then, they say, like, and then for independent artists, like smaller artists and anything, like working with like people who are already established in the industry, if you can get a feature from them or something like that, you might not be getting 100% of the song, but I'd rather have
the exposure.
I'd rather have 25% of a whole lot than 100% of nothing.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you so like I like independent music. I actually hate the music industry. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there's a redeeming quality about commercial music right now. And it is because of what I grew up listening to. And I guess even then, Swisher House wasn't, they had labels, like they were all signed, but they were signed and still struggling. Mm-hmm. You listen to old 8-Ball and MJG albums, like they were signed, but they weren't rich by any means. Right. They were making music because they loved that shit. Yeah. And you could hear it. But knowing that there are artists out there like Dax, who's now starting to do collaborations with other people. He did that song with Darius
Rucker.
Rucker, right? Yeah. I kept wanting to call him Tucker, and I knew that wasn't his last name. But he did the Man song, and then he did it again with him, and that was a really good, like, it blew up because people who are from that era that listened to him was like, oh God, the Hootie and the Blowfish guy has a song again, Yeah. Of course I gotta at least listen to it. But then you look at people like Adam Calhoun and Tom McDonald, they did some work together. Yeah. And for, people who like Adam that didn't really care for Tom, you're going to listen to see what he has to say because the guy that you like is on that album.
Yeah.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me. And I think that the reason I even brought all of this up is because for us as a podcast, even though we do relationship communication content as our primary, the networking aspect of all of this and finding people that know other people that can get them on the podcast with us is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even behind the scenes, knowing that like, we've interviewed Sam Alvey from the UFC. Sorry, babe. Mm-hmm. We've, now we've got you on here. We've had Ant on here. We've had Blake Reynolds on here. Every one of you have other connections with other people that do other things, and being able to utilize that network of people goes a long fucking way in terms of growth. And I think that's the next evolution from social media marketing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, collaborations are huge. I did a song. I've got a song with Brian Martin, and I don't know if you know who Brian Martin is, mm-hmm. but he was a good buddy of mine, and he is now blown up to where he is. He's getting ready to open for Morgan Wallen this year.
Oh, okay, wow.
So having a song with him's huge. I did a song with Justin Time. Music video is pretty awesome. It's called Get It, and even people in the comment section of that, like, I didn't even know who this Kingery guy was to this song. This is dope. And then they go listen to your music, So the collaborations are big, and it's huge for independent people, because I'm sitting there, like, when we released Wranglers on the Floor 2 nights ago, like, to just be up there, and we're still in the top 10, 48 hours later, which is huge, because a lot of times you'll get like all these pre-saves and pre-orders and everything, and then you'll start to fall back because you're not Morgan Wallen, right, and they're overtaking you on their stuff and their music and everything. So to hang around there in the top 10 still is like crazy, because there's a little secret about the music industry, is like these big name record labels and everything with these top dogs in it. like they want their artist go number one. So
Of course.
what do? You go buy 10,000 copies of their song that they just released on iTunes or Billboard or whatever. You buy 10,000 copies, that shoots you to the top.
Yeah. And then
No.
once you're there, people are going to start listening to it.
Right. Us independent people, I mean, this is all out of our pocket. And the copies that are being bought of our music is, no, they have people out there buying their stuff too,
Not at that level, though.
but like not at like, you know, let's go buy 10,000 copies of the song just so they go number one.
What does it cost you to cut an album?
Oh man. So I'll do like, depending on how many songs you're gonna have on your album or whatever. So I'll just tell you like usually typically what it costs for a single.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do a single, you've got studio time, which is, you know, we'll just say $100 an hour.
Okay.
So however long you're gonna be in the studio, if you've already written the song before you went in the studio, you know, if you're in there writing and recording and it's 4 hours, you know, there's $400 right there. You're gonna pay for the beat or whoever produced it, you know, their time and everything. So you can buy a beat off somebody. Is, you know, you can get a beat, and it just varies, depends. $100 for a beat or $500 for a beat, or big name beats and or paying somebody to do the live instruments on it and everything. I mean, that can get expensive. You know,
Yeah.
$3,000, $4,000, $5,000 you're paying for somebody to do that type of stuff on the bigger levels. But then then you're in there, you got to record it too. So then you also got to, you know, pay it for it to be mixed and mastered and everything. And then you get back your final copy. And then, you know, you got to pay for your artwork, unless you're a graphic designer yourself, creating it yourself. You know, you got to pay somebody to put the cover art together and everything. And then you release it. And, you know, if you want to do a music video, you know, 1,000, 1,500, 5,000, depending on who you go with and what type of quality video you want.
So you realistically, you could easily blow 10 grand on a single.
For sure. Depending. I think a lot of independent people who are smaller level can probably get it done for, you know, $1,000. I mean, not without a video, somewhere around 500 to 1,000. With a video, you know, 2,000, 3,000, you know, 2,500.
How do you go about finding the beats?
Once you so you can go on, like, you got producers and everything out there that sell beats online. You can buy them online. You know, once you develop connections in the music industry, I mean, there's so many producers out there that just like will hit you up. Hey, I got a new beat pack if you want this. Or what I like to do is I like to, you know, get with like some of the producer friends and people that produce my music and start from scratch. You know, we'll go into the studio and build the beat. Because it's almost like the more of an experience and just fun. Like, you know, like, no, I like how that sounds. Let's put that in there. Let's put this here,
Right.
and everything, instead of just like buying the beat. You know.
Well, you're creating your own sound at that point, so
Yeah.
that absolutely makes sense. On the beat thing, so like if you did the online thing where you bought a beat pack, where you bought an actual track from somebody, that's yours now, right? Like they can't sell it to somebody else to reuse for a song. You get the
Correct.
rights to the music. Like, how does that work?
If you're buying the exclusive.
Okay.
So if you're buying the exclusive, now what some producers and stuff will do is they'll be selling these online, and, you know, they'll have their selection of beats on there, and you can pay $50 for the beat, but that's not solely yours. So you could put out a song with the same beat as 10 other people.
Right.
Now, if you go in there and you buy the exclusive beat, sometimes producers will sell you the exclusive beat, whatever, it's going to be much more expensive. But at that point in time, you own that beat. So then if somebody else has a song or something with that beat's yours.
Right.
Technically by contract, you know what I'm saying?
So you'd be able to get paid from it. They would owe you royalties.
You work something out, or, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure the legal way you could probably get them to have to take their music down.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. It's a process. It's a process. Do you because you said that you have to pay for your album artwork, do you, as an artist, do you prefer old school photography albums or like artwork, or would you want something digital done?
I think it just kind of depends. Like, I kind of like on the cover art and stuff that I'm doing now, like on the Wranglers on the Floor one, we had like just a digital one, like somebody like that we had, like somebody had found online, was a pair of jeans laying on the floor. you know? And then we were just like, I don't really like that. And so we did a real-time photo of the guy that that's on the song with me. His name's Ty March. His girlfriend had a photo of her like standing backwards, like with her hands up in the air like this, and she had a pair of Wrangler jeans on. And the photo, like, we used that photo of like the back of her, and then put like Wranglers and like the rope, and like that, and then on the floor, and it just came out so much better.
Yeah, I think that, so I'm a photographer. I actually did it as a business for a while on top of everything else that I've done. But photography has always been my passion. It's been the thing that I've loved more than painting, more than tattooing. Like, it is a cool ass art form, and it's fast. So like, if you're an impatient person, you can do cool shit real quick, right? And then when you really want to get into editing, you can slow way down, and a photo can take you a month to edit, depending on your Photoshop skills and how fast you are. But the moment I turned that into a job, I hated it. It
Really?
absolutely fucking destroyed it for me. And so I was going to lead into that too, but because we're talking about the albums, I want to continue with that for a minute. All of my favorite album covers growing up were always photographs. You know, you would see like the Rancid album with Tim Armstrong, you know, him sitting on the stairs. That was a great picture. It was like, it screamed punk rock to me. And seeing all of the old country albums, it was always the guys standing around with their guitar or a drink. You know what I mean? I always just thought that was cool shit because it makes you feel like you know them. It creates a parasocial relationship. I remembered that.
Fantastic.
But it makes you feel like you actually know those people. It makes you feel like this is who they are because you see them in that persona, right? And sometimes it's an act, but you still feel like you know that person. And I think that that's a big deal. On the photography thing, how I said that once I made it a business, I hated it. And it made me step away from it for like 4 years. I didn't take a single picture. Going from somebody who was always a guitar in their hand, always loved music, moving into the music industry, have you found that where's my freedom? Does that make sense to you?
Not. What do you mean?
So wedding photography is the highest paid photography job you can get. I have done wedding photography where I have made double-digit thousands.
Okay.
Because you get a really good client and they want multiple photographers and you have to rent gear and like video and it's a big production.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with monster-in-laws, bridezillas, and everybody wants to tell you how to do your fucking job instead of just going, I trust your work, go do your thing. Same thing with the tattoo industry. If you're a tattoo artist, you know that it's not about what you want to create. You want to do really cool, crazy art, and they want a feather turning into birds.
Yeah.
You got to do the best feather turning into birds and be excited about it because you're getting paid to do a job. It's not about your artistic ability anymore. And as an independent artist, you still get to do whatever the fuck you want to do, but you are working for your fans at that point.
Yeah.
So have you had that any type of resentment towards the industry at all yet?
No, and I think that not yet. No. You know, I'm still in that process, and it's starting to go in that direction. You know, when I started out, you know, I'd put out, like, when I say I do like country rap, stuff like that, like I kind of get the feel of like what people like me doing, you know, and it seems more like I'm trending more towards the singy country stuff than more of the rapping stuff. Now, I love to do the rapping stuff just because I enjoy to do it. You know, it's fun for me. I grew up watching that stuff and everything. So I'll still dabble in it every now and then. You know, like, you know, you can do a singy song and then at the end of a verse throw a little rap on it or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to get my fix in real quick, but still get like so just kind of reading what people want and everything. But the greatest thing about being an independent artist is you do what you want. You know, at the end of the day, there's nobody telling you when you can release a song, what you can release. Like, because, I mean, major record labels out there, they set up the plan for you. Hey, I want to release this song. No, we don't think it's right.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want, once you go with that one, let's go with this one. And you look at TikTok right now, Universal, you know, just pulled off all their music. So
millions of songs.
Yeah. So all these artists on there just got all their music pulled off TikTok. And at the end of the day, it's because you don't own your music. You know, like as an independent artist, you own your music. You do what you want with it.
The idea of moving from what you really enjoy to
What the people want.
trying to cultivate your brand around what people want is why most artists of any fashion fail on the internet, because you love something, right? Like, I'm gonna go back to photography because it'll correlate easier. You take a picture that you love and like you vibe with that shit. You look at it on the computer and you start showing it to your friends and like you fucking love this photo.
Yeah.
And you're super proud of it and you put it on the internet and it gets like 10 views,
Yeah.
3 likes,
Right.
and some troll.
Yeah.
Right?
Some troll in your comment section.
So from something that you created that you loved is now bitter and like this was going to be the thing that everybody just knew me for. You know what I mean? So I would imagine that it would be the same thing with music. You do something that you're super proud of. You put a lot of fucking time and effort into that just to have that not hit the algorithm the way that it should, or maybe you released it an hour earlier in the day than you should have.
Right.
You know, because that's all a game.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Timing of when you release stuff and everything. But yeah, it is very frustrating when you're like, this is the one.
Right.
I love this song. This song is the one that's going to do it. And you find out real quick just because you love it doesn't mean everybody else does.
So that's the difference from being an independent artist doing what you actually enjoy and love and then transitioning into what it is that people want. Like you said, you wanted to do more rap stuff, but the country singing is becoming popular again.
Yeah.
Corporate country finally fucking died. So grateful for that. Because I grew up on outlaw country. Like that's a thing for me. And still, you know you've got good Southern music if you go to a mud pit and you hear that shit playing out of a side-by-side.
Yep.
Right? Like it doesn't matter what the internet says. You go to any mud event and you hear that song playing out of a side-by-side, you fucking did it. Like the blue collar workers, the rednecks, like they're supporting you whole heart. It's very different than looking at a chart and seeing Taylor Swift up there because she's a popular woman who is half naked on stage singing poppy songs. It's a different, I don't know.
It's not that difficult to, like I said, like people will support something when everybody else is, or like it's popular to do so. But it's not that hard to, you're setting out here as somebody like you guys doing your podcast on your own, me doing music and everything, it would be nice to have, Taylor Swift Avenue or some like Morgan Wallen Avenue or something, or where you put a video out on TikTok and then I put $2,000 behind the video for 10 million people to see it, but like this, we're just doing organic views, so it's, when every video that you're putting out's going viral because you're putting money behind it. I mean, it's a lot of things these days are pay to play.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe that 100%. Do you have people out there that you would like to sit down and work with? Like, do you have like a dream list, the top 5 people that you would love to work with one day?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are they?
It's kind of maybe not in order, but number one. I got my number one.
Okay.
But Jelly Roll, love to work with him. Struggle Jennings. Upchurch, would love to do a song with him. And then Adam Calhoun. And then number one has got to be Cody Jinks.
Okay.
Like I love Cody Jinks. And it's like we don't even like really do like the same music,
right?
But it's just like that's just like the dream, Like I love Cody Jinks' music. He's just a dope dude.
Have you had any interactions with any of those guys?
Adam Calhoun.
Yeah.
I've talked to Struggle before. Awesome dude. I got a lot of friends that know Jelly. I haven't met him yet. But talked to Adam. Great dude.
Yeah. I've been a friend of his, I've been a fan of Adam's music for a while now, just because he was so controversial at one point. Like you either liked him or hated him.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yep.
I love it when people hate people.
Yeah.
Like if you hate somebody, like truly hate them, they're doing something that's just fucking stroking your hair the wrong way. Like it does it for me. And it's funny to me when people are getting that kind of hate and they're thriving. It makes it even better because you're rooting for the underdog because you know they're fucking hated, right? So that was my introduction to Adam Calhoun. But when he started doing music with Broadnax, I was like, okay, this is more my pace because he's Southern. You can hear the accent in his rap and like he's fucking good.
Yeah.
And then I saw an interview where Broadnax was talking about how him and Adam, even though he's on Adam's label, Adam has never tried to rein him in or tell him how to talk or tell him how to behave. He's just let him be him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's a whole new level of respect.
Yeah.
And then Adam started coming out with his politics shit. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. I like this guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like we said, we think people they want authenticity, they want realness, and I think there's something to be said about somebody who doesn't give a shit. They're like how they feel is how they feel, and you either fucking like it or you don't.
Right.
And it takes some balls to because I think that there's a lot of people out there in the music industry and everything that are like, I can't say this. I don't want to get in trouble for this, and they really feel it. But then it's nice, and I think it's a breath of fresh air for people to see people that are like, you know what, I'm going to get hate for this, but this is how I feel. Fuck it.
Hold my beer. Yeah. Did you see the interview with The Rock and Joe Rogan?
I did.
The Rock didn't answer anything definitively. Mm-hmm. He skirted every fucking question. He was medium on everything. There was no hard stances about any of it. He just got along to get along.
Yep.
And I think that's why people want that authenticity.
Yeah.
That these people are not who they say they are.
No.
It is 100% about whoever's paying their check that day. So you're right in that aspect. And I think that's why people like Dana White so much. Mm-hmm. I'd vote for him for president, bro.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a fuck.
You're right.
It's nice, and I think that people see that, the term "real," recognize real. You see that. You can tell when somebody's just this guy's not really who he is, and there's nothing worse, but there's also nothing worse than if you like somebody on the internet and you're like, I like this person, and then you meet him in person and you're like, you're not the same fucking person.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than that.
They tell you don't want to ever meet your idols,
right?
Because of that. I saw something the other day with John Wick, Keanu Reeves, and it was he was getting ready to leave, and there was a whole crowd of people out there, and he stopped what he was doing, and he was tired. You could see it. His body's not what it used to be. Right. He's walking weird at this point, but he's made his way over there, and he's signing and talking to all these people and doing his thing. And then I saw a video right afterwards. It was literally the next video on my feed of Michael Jordan getting out of a car, and some kid Mike, will you sign my J's? And he walked right by the child, and I'm like, you fucking
I didn't even know that.
You were a hero of mine as a kid. I
love Michael Jordan.
Right, you were one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and you got a kid talking about sign my J's, bro. He shouldn't even be a fan of you, right? You haven't played basketball of relevance in 20 years.
Sign the Jordans,
right?
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think that's important. Those guys need to remember that they are who they are because of their fan base.
Absolutely.
We are dealing with that independent thing right now. Go back to that conversation, because our podcast is a relationship communication podcast. That's how all of this got started, and I have wanted to transition into other things because I think a lot of people have a lot to say and they don't have the platform to say it.
Yeah.
So being able to interview people like Ant, or anybody for that matter, that's got like a music career. If you were 10 years down the road with your music career and you were married in a family, and we could sit down and talk about the struggles of being a musician and having a family,
right? That's
a conversation that's not being had.
Yeah.
So for us to transition into that would be super fucking dope. And all of the conversations that we're having, because it's not relationship communication based, it's getting the 10 likes.
Oh, really?
And the one troll, right? And it's not doing what we should be doing, but we've been having conversations about faith. We've had conversations about porn addictions from people who actually have centers for it, drug addiction, and we're having human trafficking. We're having real important conversations. Yeah. So the people who are at the fan base that are true fans really, truly appreciate what we're doing. And the people that are just here because they're looking for that Jerry Springer relationship drama is I'm not listening to this.
Right.
And then we start to lose those fans. So I wonder where the transition will be for us, how long we have to continue doing the interviews to get to that point where we're known for interviews and relationship shit.
Right.
Versus just the Jerry Springer relationship shit.
Yeah. And I think the people that you said you've had on and everything, I think you just keep sprinkling those in every so often, and I think it just keeps building and building until you're there wherever you want to be.
Yeah, I think so too. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a relationship guru. There's enough people on the internet telling people how to live their lives.
Right, absolutely.
I want to have conversations with authentic people that makes me think. Or might change my perspective on something, or gives that young man who's 14 years old, who's already making his own beats and has been fucking rapping in the shower his entire life, that one piece of information that he didn't have that could actually get him somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you never know. You could say something in passing to somebody that can completely change the entire course of their life.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take much, and it's common knowledge to you. We had this conversation last night because I hear people that are on our level with coaching. They do a lot of mental health stuff, and the things that they're saying is common sense to me. And people are paying them thousands of dollars to hear it. I'm like, I don't understand how you're making all this money because you're not doing anything.
Right.
And she's like, well, you know this already. I'm like, yeah, but it's common sense. And she's like, is it? And I'm like, I guess fucking not.
Right.
Because here they are making thousands of dollars to tell people to get over shit. Like,
I think it's the same thing when you see all those like gym motivators.
yeah.
Everybody's a fucking personal trainer or
Yeah.
something, you know, like on the internet. So a lot of those people are just out to make money. They're just, you know, like either the shit's already common sense or you're giving them knowledge that's bullshit.
Well, a lot of the influencers that do the gym thing, they have cookie cutter diets that they send to everyone. And if you're not a licensed dietitian, you're not supposed to be telling people how to eat. So it's a recommended diet plan, and it'll say on there like sample diet plan. And then they'll tell you on the phone, this is what I want you to do, but the paperwork will say sample diet plan, so they can't get in trouble if you are malnourished or something wrong happens to your diet. The other end of that spectrum are the people who are doing the coaching aspect, that are the Tony Robbinsons or, you know, the really big name people who are like, buy my book, come to my seminar. And in the seminar, they beat you down and make you feel like you need the next program to really level. And before you leave, you're signing up for the next program. And what should have been a $1,000 expense is now a $10,000 future plan. And that's how these guys are making all this money.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get the same information as clips off of TikTok for free.
Absolutely.
Than going to the seminar, because the seminar is about selling you on the next product.
Yep.
So when we do our seminars, when we start doing that kind of shit, I want to charge the tickets to get people in so that like we have a reason to rent venues, but I don't want to sell anything while we're there.
Okay.
I would like to be able to sit down and just have conversations with people. And I would really like to get to the point of having couple conversations, because I think that's the evolution of To Be Better. Like if we could get Jelly Roll and Bunny to sit down on a couch with us and we could interview the two of them, that's in our wheelhouse. We're having a relationship conversation with people who have a world famous relationship.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what it would have been like if we could have sat down with Johnny and June Carter? Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Johnny Cash and June Carter, that would have been a fucking huge thing. And like nobody really did that. She got interviewed a lot about her life, and so did he, but like they didn't, it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And people want to know about that shit because you hear about that. You hear about the Bonnie and Clydes and you hear about all of the great love stories, but it's always after the fact. You didn't hear about, well, you know, we had a 3-day fight where, you know, he was on the bottle and fucking throwing and breaking shit, and I loved him through it anyways. Like those are the conversations that I want to have, because people, that's real,
yeah.
you know. That has nothing to do with anything, I guess.
Right.
I think that would be super fucking cool.
Yeah, well, it's like you said with these seminars and everything like that, and you know, like it's an honor to be here with you guys and everything, you know, because you see like y'all do this for the right reasons and everything, you know, and like I think you, like you said with the people in the seminars and everything, you got people that do shit to make money and for the wrong reasons, and you got people that do it for the right reasons, and they just happen to be successful at it as well, you know.
Do you think there's anyone in the music industry that is trying to mediate new and upcoming artists without trying to rape them financially? Is there a market for that? Somebody that has the knowledge on how to do what you're doing currently? Because there's a lot of people that don't know.
Yeah. I wouldn't know anybody off the top of my head, really, that, like, I mean, because it's, you know, I think that there's been people, like, you know, you talk about Adam Calhoun. You know, Adam is big in what he does, you know, but he still takes the time to answer phone calls and I've been on the phone with him for 2 hours at one time, and he's literally giving me advice, like how to do this, like do this. And he doesn't do features for people for money. You know, like Adam Calhoun could make a fucking killing off of charging people for features, but he's not going to work with you if he don't fuck with you.
Right.
You know,
Which
it's
makes
not
sense.
a money game.
So that speaks on to mentorship then, right? Because if he's doing that, he's doing it as a mentor. Like, hey, I've been here and I've done this. We're vibing or whatever, however you want to word that. I want to show you how to do that. That's what I was getting at. That mentorship is fucking huge. And it's not something that you can pay for.
Right.
Because people, even if you pay for it, they're not going to give you everything. They're going to give you what you pay for because it's a business transaction. But if you have somebody that cares about what you're doing and you guys are meshing, they're going to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
It would be like if we ever got to the point where Jelly and Bunny were sitting here and I was like, hey, have you ever heard of Kingery? And I was able to like, I would like to connect you to do music.
Right.
I'm co-signing for you because you and I mesh.
Yep.
That mentorship goes a long fucking way. And over time, that builds bridges and networks. I really think that social media is dying in terms of what it was supposed to be and what we've used it for, because everybody's an act now.
Yeah.
Right. So that mentorship is now, I think that's going to be the next evolution of marketing.
Yeah.
I really, truly do. It's going to come down to real life, authentic relationships with people and the communities that you build, and not so much about throwing money at something to get it to show up on people's feeds.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like, I remember when I first started talking to Adam, I asked him, I was like, dude, I'd love to do a song with you. How much for a feature? Like, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't charge people for features. He's like, but I don't work with nobody that I don't fuck with. So he was like, here's the deal. You show me you're serious about this. He said, put out 2 albums and 8 music videos. Come hang out at me at my house, at my place. Let me make sure I actually like you. And then I'll do a song with you. And it's like, that's respectable.
Yeah.
That's literally only
cool.
like 3 things to do. That's
right.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's only 3 things.
right. I
That's
know.
a lot.
Of course, there's 2 albums and then the 8 music videos. But right, like there's the albums, and then there's the music videos, and I have to come chill with you. That's literally. I mean, there's subcategories, but that's just 3 things. That's nothing.
Yeah, but it's, it just shows that you're like serious. You're not just looking for a handout. Because anybody. I mean, imagine if you could just call it like these people put their time in.
Right.
They built their stuff on their own. They probably did features with people and stuff too, but they built their stuff. So for like all the people out there that are like, man, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then like, what are they supposed to just give it to you?
Right.
Oh,
I get it.
Put your time in.
We get that. Yeah. We get people. We have had people come on just because they want to start a podcast and want to have a conversation with us on how to do it, or want the technical knowledge that I have. And like, I'm the same way. I'll give that shit out to anybody if I fuck with them. But I'm not gonna just bring you on here and give you a platform because you think it's a cool job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I need to see you need to see the work. That makes sense. Do you know who Spidey Smith is?
The name sounds familiar.
He was Yellow Wolf's photographer for a while.
Yep.
In the event that you ever want to do a tour with like a photographer to just kind of do behind the scenes shit, I would love to just do a single show.
Yeah. I'm down.
I won't charge you for it. Like, I'll bring all my own shit. She's got obviously she wants to be a rapper with you.
Yeah.
I would like to try my hand at the behind the scenes Spidey Smith shit, because he's probably one of my favorite photographers. Some of the iconic photos that he took of Yellow Wolf were fucking, and it's just because Yellow Wolf was used to him being there, and he was able to take pictures, and nobody thought it was weird having a camera in the face because he was always fucking there.
Yeah, I think I'm doing a show. Like, we're still working on date selection and everything, but somewhere down this way.
Yeah.
And then this year, but dude, anytime you want to come travel out and shoot behind the scene photos and all that stuff.
Would you want to do that as a shooter?
Yeah, that would be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story time, because we're an hour and 15 minutes in. I don't want to keep it too long. We started 2 hours or an hour and a half later than we should have.
Oh, you're fine.
When Hurricane Ian came, I had a lot of employees who had a lot of damage and a lot of things happen, and I sold every piece of camera gear I had.
Yeah.
And tens of thousands of dollars in camera gear gone. And we didn't need to sell the camera gear. We did it because I over postured, because I was trying to take care of my people and I wanted to make sure that everyone was okay. And like 2 weeks after it happened, I don't even think it was that long, I was like, I really don't think I should have done that. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I haven't shot in 3 years, but like it's there.
Yeah.
It's like the person who's quitting smoking, having that pack of cigarettes, even though he's not smoking, it's a comfort.
Yeah.
And she listened to me complain 3 or 4 times in the course of 2 or 3 days. And she's like, if you wanted to do this again, I would do it with you. And I'm like, really? Like, we're going to do a little hobby together, And there was a fuck yes moment in that for me, because she doesn't know photography. So it gives me the ability to mentor her and teach her the way that I do things and understand things from my view. But now we have something to bond over, and she's co-signing the equipment.
Yeah.
Which was huge because
The spending.
yeah,
was the
because
thing.
there's, just one of these cameras is 13 grand. So it's not like, right, it's not like I half-ass things. I'm not buying a Canon Rebel. Like I'm
Right.
buying top of the line everything because I understand I only got to buy it once.
Right.
And we went to the camera store and dropped like $14,000 in one shot. Got 2 cameras, a couple lenses, and went right out and started taking pictures. And she got really good really quick. Because of me. No. But it's one of those things that we bond over, and like we've always just done landscapes and animals and shit. We've never actually done people.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that more than landscape because people are emotional creatures and candid shots are the shit.
Yeah.
So that would be super fucking dope for me.
It would.
I know that you would enjoy it too, but I'm a little hyped up right now knowing
Yeah.
that we can go take pictures together of something that we haven't taken before. That would be gangster as fuck.
Yeah, that'd be cool for y'all to do. Like y'all come out and do the thing.
We're willing to travel for shit like that too. We'll have to talk about that off camera though,
Okay.
because there's a whole lot that would go into that. We really want to start doing seminars and traveling to places. So in the event that we've got something going in a state where you're doing a show, if we can work our schedule around your show, we can set up seminars at the same time. And the whole trip is taken care of in that aspect. So do you have anything else that you want to ask him?
No.
This has kind of been all over the place because I've never interviewed a musician before.
Yeah.
I don't know what to ask or like what to talk about. Is there anything that you want to plug or talk about on this?
No, I mean, no. No, I think we covered a lot.
We did cover a lot, but it was in short segments.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like I kind of like the vibe. It's just you never know what's coming next.
Right.
You know, that's no, I've had a blast.
Well, I'm glad you came down. I appreciate it. It was very weird when Ant was like, "Hey, how about this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it. I mean, if he's wanting to
let's do
come."
it.
Ant's got us quite a few people that's been wanting to come down and talk to us, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they love your content." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Like people know who we are?"
Oh yeah,
It's so weird to me. We've had a couple people recently that are in our social circles who have talked third party about us to other people, and they've thrown around the famous word, and I'm like, we're not, dude. Like, and then we go out in public, and people are like, oh my god, I love your podcast, and they cry when they see her and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, we're famous. I hate this.
yeah. Well, like I told some people I was coming to do the podcast, and they're like, "Well, what podcast are you going to be on?" And I told them like the To Be Better podcast, and they're like, "Wait a minute." Like the guy and the girl who like talk about relationship and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, tell them like I love them. Have them follow me.
That's so
and like all this
fucking
stuff.
weird.
Yeah.
I'll follow back if you tell me to follow somebody.
If it's Shania Twain, I'm already down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a
That's
Shania
funny.
Twain fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. So I was telling you earlier, we have a fairly decent size home, and you can't hear people in the living room from the kitchen without yelling. You can't have a normal conversation in my house. You got to yell. So from the living room, you have to go down a hallway into the master bedroom, which is like a 20 by 30 room, down a hallway to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Shania Twain is on, and you can hear her ass in the living room singing "Let's Go Girls," and
I'm ready to kick in damn doors when I hear that.
it is a whole ordeal. And it's the only time I'm in the house that I can hear her from another room. So yeah, she says she likes Shania Twain.
Yeah. Yep. And Sheryl Crow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't picture that one.
Soak Up the Sun.
So we're doing a song, huh?
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's do it. I'm in.
I have a very large vocal range.
Do you?
Yeah, I can get pretty high up there. I don't know if it's good, but I can get up there.
She also plays the Barry sax.
I do. Yeah. And I'm rusty at the violin.
I haven't heard you play the violin.
No.
I've
I'd have
heard-
to get my nails cut for that.
Having a violin on the track would be dope.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a fiddle boy. Let me tell
yeah.
you. Every time, it doesn't matter what it is. I think that is one of the most versatile instruments on the planet
I agree.
because you can play it traditional classic music, or you can play it southern, and it's two very different sounds.
I'm a violin fan. I'm a saxophone fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you can do some sax.
Yeah, I can play all of them.
You play sax?
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry sax.
The Barry sax is the one that I kind of specialize in. That's my favorite one to play. But I've played the alto. I've done tenor, soprano.
No.
Before we had the podcast, she had a bad day at work and went home. and I came home and she was on the back porch, and I was that "Are You Coming to the Tree" song
From the Hunger Games.
for like 15 minutes. I was like, is this song ever gonna fucking end?
But I was playing it in like jazz swing style.
Yeah.
And then it ended and it went into Freebird. And I walked out there. I'm like, are you done? Like, come on. You really just, I need a lighter. Play Freebird.
Yeah.
Like,
It did go into Freebird after that.
and then Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah,
which was
Stairway to
really weird
Heaven.
to hear on a Barry sax, by the way.
Yeah.
Not bad though.
No, it was entertaining.
Yeah, I got to hear this.
All right.
Have you seen the TikTok meme of the dog and it's always got words and it's like, dun,
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
yeah. She pulled the saxophone out the other day and was playing that.
Yeah, I spent an hour. I can't find the written notes anywhere, so I'm trying to do it by ear.
Yeah.
And I think I got most of it. It's the higher pitched notes on the Barry sax. It doesn't sound right, so I'm trying to find a decent jumping point.
I want to do a TikTok video of that though, and just use the overlay of the dog and then have her playing the sax and the dog vibing to it. I think that would be funny, but
It might go viral.
might.
That'd be dope.
It might. It's been a while. TikTok does not like us right now.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's social media, man. It's like almost like it goes in waves, you know?
Do you get fucked with on Instagram the way you get fucked with on TikTok?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like some people, like Instagram, I think Instagram is probably like the most difficult platform to like,
I agree.
you know, really build a following on. Because like, it's like I have 207,000 followers on there. And like, you know, you're post a picture or something and it's like 1,000 people like it, you know, and it's like, how many people see this, you know,
Right.
like, so either that or you got a bunch of people that follow you that don't like you,
Yeah.
you know, just to watch. But I think Instagram is also like where like, you know, you got a lot of loyal followers at
Right.
as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're I think at 63,000 on Instagram, but we don't use it the way we use TikTok. I use the main TikTok account. I will post 3 to 5 videos every single day.
Yeah.
So like this podcast will get clipped, and if we get 15 clips out of it, I'll run it through the week before it airs to like movie trailer, the podcast. And she does her TikTok, and then we have a life account. But TikTok is notorious for like, we have 1.2 million followers on the main account. If we get 10%, I would be shocked. And views, it just doesn't happen. I can't remember the last time I had a video do 1 million views overnight, which doesn't make sense because I have 1 million followers, you would think.
Yep.
And it doesn't work that way.
I mean, TikTok just doesn't show it. And it's like, one thing about TikTok as well is like, if you're not making TikTok money,
Yeah.
then you ain't getting the normal like views, you know, like it's like when I try to talk about Thin Line Apparel, you know, I don't have a TikTok shop. So like me trying to drive traffic off of TikTok over
they
to
don't like
Thin
that
Line
shit.
Apparel. No, I'll get 3,000 views and I got almost 1 million followers. Like I lost my first TikTok account at almost 3.5 million.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to build this one back. We're almost back to 1 million. But yeah, like it's stuff.
I can't tag people.
You can't?
I can't. If I tag anybody, if you go on my feed and look at my feed, every single video that I've tagged somebody in has less than 10,000 views. TikTok does not want you to support other creators.
Oh, for sure.
They want you to make content so that they can sell advertisement. And like, you know, you can't stitch videos in the beta program. It's not
really?
monetized. So like duets, stitches, and videos under a minute, you can't make money off of.
Gotcha.
And like, I know I've talked to other creators who are big creators that will start the month off making 75 to 80 cents CPM. And then once they get to 2 or 3 million views, they're down to like a penny
Yeah.
because TikTok doesn't want to pay out more than 3 or 4 grand.
Yeah.
And for us, because we're not making that kind of money on TikTok, once we get to that point, they just throttle our content. We can't get over 10 or 15,000 views on a video. So I know that I have to post all of my bangers the first week of the month.
Okay.
Because anything beyond that, it just doesn't do anything because of the way they're set up if you're in the beta program. I've actually thought about leaving the beta program just to get our views back up. But the money that we make on there is a car payment. So like
Yeah. I mean,
it's a you know, a no-win situation, I guess.
yeah, every little bit counts.
All right, so let's end this with a piece of advice for young people who are wanting to do anything artistic. What would your advice be? Let's get 3 pieces of advice.
I would say ignore the hate. Surround yourself with like-minded, driven individuals. And, just understand that it's not going to come overnight and you got to work your ass off. So when I started this, like when I left police work, like the amount of doubt that like people had, like that I'd be able to do this or whatever, the hate comments, should have stuck to being a cop, go back to being a cop, like if you listen to that shit, like
It'll break you.
it will break you, if you like, I believe in myself, like, so I bet on myself, like I'm not gonna win and try to stay out. Like you, obviously you want to engage with the people that are engaging with you in your comment sections and stuff, but like don't dive so much into that and focus on like you get 100 comments on a video and 95 of them are positive. Why do you give a fuck what the 5 people that said you shouldn't be doing it do?
Mm-hmm.
I actually have an answer for that.
Yeah.
It comes into a feeling of worthlessness in people.
Yeah.
Right? Because we worship other people who are in the same level we are. Oh, I wish I had that talent. I wish I was just that good. Or, if only I could get those views. It's the same thing, though. You guys are dealing with the exact same hate we are.
Yep.
And we dealt with that hard. The first year of the podcast was fucking rough, dude. We got death threats. Like,
really?
Oh, yeah. It got to the point where, like, she started carrying everywhere she went. And, like, we had to, like, make sure that our kids never got put on the internet. Like, it got bad. It got ugly as fuck real fast. Yeah. And it was just because we were talking about traditional values, and people that don't like traditional marriages think that she's a slave and abused, and she's setting a bad example for women, and I'm a narcissistic, abusive man. And it got ugly fast. And it's Joe Rogan said, don't read the comment section. Right? But for us to build our own platform, you have to read the comment section, because you have to interact with people who like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It's hard. It's fucking hard to ignore the comments.
Yeah, and when people are miserable with their own lives and they see other people being successful or doing something that they can't do, and it's not even that they necessarily want what you have, they just don't want you to have what you have.
Right.
They're just fucking shithead people on the internet, man. The internet is such a wild place, like. But it does a lot of good, and it can, if you let it, it can do a lot of bad, for sure.
So you went from being a police officer to a musician, and your second thing was to find like-minded, driven people. And I love that you put driven in there, because it's one thing to have the I wish mentality. It's another to, hey, I'm working on this, right? That's a very different mindset to have. How did you find that community? Because you're an independent artist. You don't have somebody co-sign and say, hey, he's going to be the next big thing. You had to build that. How did you do that?
I think it comes like you live and you learn, and it comes over time. Like if, there's people that I started when I started doing this that I don't talk to anymore, because it's like if you surround yourself with negativity and people that are just always like, the poor me's and the, everything, if you surround yourself with that and like, then it bleeds over to you. If you surround yourself with people that are like, fuck it, let's go, let's just go out here and work. Let's just, then it also, positivity bleeds onto you, as does negativity.
Yeah.
And, the more negative you can cut out, the better off for you.
So that's also a be patient thing.
Yeah.
Right? Weed through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have anything else, Hotness?
No.
All right, so then we'll just wrap this up and call it a night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah.
This was a fun conversation, and I actually learned something from it, which is a win for me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I know that I might get to take pictures behind stage with you, which is super fucking gangster. Could you see us little passes? Like, we could Wayne's World that shit. Right?
And we might get a song together.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that would be really dope.
You could be up there singing, and while he's rapping, you could be taking pictures of the crowd. You could fucking multitask.
I don't think I can do that. That's too much going on for me.
Already giving you pressure. Come on, babe. Be the next thing.
No, I mean, I could get I definitely have like the big stage personality. I don't get nervous
agree.
like that.
I agree, you do.
But if you're asking me to get up there, all right, the second you're done singing, start taking pictures, I'm going to fumble that shit. Either I'm dropping the camera or I'm falling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want you to fall. I'd be okay with you dropping the camera, but I would
If
hate
someone
to
like
see you
walked
fall.
the camera out to me and I had that 3 to 4 second separation in my brain of,
Will you at least take a fan's picture of like phone and take a selfie?
oh yeah.
Okay, that'll work. I think that's
Yeah,
cool
I could
shit.
do that. Like one on stage. and-
Would you ever do that for a fan?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's so fucking cool when people do that shit.
yeah.
Because that kid will never forget
Oh,
that.
Oh yeah,
No.
I grab them all the time, take them up on stage with me, and go like
Yeah.
this and give it back.
That's so fucking cool. Yeah. Well, guys, remember you're the author of your own life,
So grab a pen.
and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.